Hi, my name is Zauresh M, and I'm a master's student at Nazarbayev University in School Leadership Program. This presentation is titled From Practice to Perfection, which means my aim today is to share with you about my experience on writing a paper on a mini research project. So, according to the plan of the presentation, I will start it with a little background on mini project, as well as talk about its findings and to what conclusions I was able to come as a result of these findings. Along with this, I will reflect on my own knowledge and skills that I was able to acquire as a result of this work, and finish my presentation with some ideas on how I'm going to apply those knowledge and skills in the future. Talking about the project itself, it was titled The Study of NAS Gifted Students' Perception on Online Learning Programs. Reasoning this title, I would say that I was initially interested in studying gifted programs and the better ways of, and finding the better ways of applying those programs in Kazakhstani secondary school education. And according to the assignment that we were given, we were supposed to align it with online learning programs. And during this assignment, we were able to learn how to write a literature review by analyzing different sources. So during these assignments, I found that there are a lot of scholar perceptions, as well as parent perception and teachers' perception on the benefits and drawbacks of online learning programs specifically for gifted learners. And it seems that the voice of the gifted learners themselves is a little bit faded at this term. That's why I decided to come to this topic of identifying the attitude and the perception of students on online learning programs. My research was based on three main questions. Thus, what was the experience of the students, what was beneficial and challenging for them during their study. As a sampling, since this research is aimed to identify the attitudes of gifted learners, it was applicable to use qualitative research. Thus, I implemented semi-structured interviews face-to-face with each student. There were in general 2 students who were able to help me to get some information with an experience of studying at online learning program on robotics. They were really highly gifted students. They were assigned as really highly gifted students on robotics and were lucky to get that opportunity to study in such kind of programs. So, according to the interviews, both students highlighted the importance of the quality curriculum program, interesting program that was provided by this online platform. They were thrilled by how well they were able to get to the next level with the help of such interesting resources that were used and presented, as well as they were really excited to get the opportunity to work with other gifted learners and kind of compete and compare their knowledge with them in a distance. However, the time management came out to be an issue for both of them, as the school administration did not consider that these students should be excluded from the everyday studies at brick and mortar at NAS Kızıldağ, where they have to get ready for mini summative per term, for summatives at the end of their term. And this caused some challenges for the students, that they found it is very difficult to cope with the big amount of the project assignment in the online platform, as well as to cope with their everyday school tasks. And both of them said that they were not ready actually to dedicate so much time, although the program was interesting and although robotics is almost everything for them. They felt they were really tired and exhausted at the end of the project. What does it teach us? To what conclusions should we come as a result of these findings? Most of the findings were confirmed, not confirmed, but aligned with scholar studies. And it brings us to the conclusion that school administration, not only school administration, but teachers and parents should look at, first of all, at the preparedness, the level of the preparedness of their children. Thus, look at how mature they are to dedicate their energy, their time for this kind of programs. How mature they are to be isolated from the school program, brick and mortar school program. And the administration itself, they should consider the assignment deadlines, which means they should consider that there is a deadline for those students and they could be given extra time to do the school assignments later, or maybe in general not to do those assignments because they're going to prepare that highly advanced students on robotics. Along with this, teachers, school administration and parents should look at the quality of the program in terms of the curriculum quality. Does it provide with interesting resources, advanced resources, challenging resources that will boost up the interest of those gifted learners. Also, homogeneous grouping found to be really beneficial for gifted learners while studying in that kind of platform. So the school administration and teachers and students should look at grouping, should look if this online learning program suggests grouping with looking at the level of the students. What did I learn according to this work? There are tons of the things that I learned in general. However, initially I didn't believe in myself that I will be able to conduct a mini research and generally write about it, because I was not aware of the structure of the thesis paper. This is a mini research project, so it could be told as a research paper. Although I knew about the general structure, I was not aware what's the difference between, for example, findings and the discussion and the conclusion part. It didn't make any difference for me, unfortunately, at the beginning. However, the step-by-step structure of the sessions allowed us first to compare the resources and develop a literature review that was later used in the paper literature review section. So that means I learned to critically analyze the literature and apply my knowledge of argumentation skills as well as synthesis. At the beginning of this academic year, almost all of us talked about the synthesis, that it's very important, but we find it difficult to acquire. However, just like one click during this session, and I'm very happy because of it, I think I was able to understand that synthesis is how well you are connecting your findings with the studies done previously. What are the similarities, what are the differences, what is interesting and what needs to be further studied. And what was quite challenging at the same time was that to learn the revising strategies. They were really helpful in terms of making the paper concise and precise, and I would never maybe think about this if not the resources provided by our instructor. So it was really helpful. Also, while learning to write the discussion part of the paper, it was good to acquire beforehand the aligning and hedging language, which helped me a lot to show how did it align with the studies that has been conducted by scholars before, and what are some differences, what are interesting findings and things like that. How I'm going to apply those skills now. Next year we are going to write our thesis, and I think this was a core assignment that helped us to acquire and learn all the main parts of the thesis. That's how the structure of the thesis, beginning from the introduction, literature review, methods, the analysis of the findings, its discussion and conclusion part. And I feel more confident about writing the thesis, and I already helped some of my colleagues on writing their mini research projects that they are doing at school in terms of action research, because it was really hard even for me before this course to know the structure of any research in general. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.